Hi guys, it's Andy, and today we'll be talking about the 2020 film, The 40-Year-Old Version. I had come across this film quite randomly. Actually, I heard a snippet from a review by MacLeod, the British film reviewer that I follow, and I thought, well, that sounded interesting, and it was filmed in black and white. It was on Netflix, which is always good for someone who has Netflix. You can check it out, and it sounded like it was original content. I had no idea what it was about, and I was really pleasantly surprised by it. It is written and directed, and I'm just going to hope I get this right. Radha Blank. Now, the main character is also called Radha, which is the creator of the movie's name as well. The story of it is set in New York, and Radha is approaching her 40th birthday, or maybe she's just turned 40. And when she was younger, she was considered one of the top theatre playwrights for a play she did, and destined for big things. But since then, now she's like teaching high school students in like after school theatre classes, and she's kind of living from paycheck to paycheck, it almost seems. And that glory of the her past and her past awards and what she was going to be in her view have seemed to have gone past her. Now she has a really great best friend who is also her agent, played by I'm just going to read it here. I think it's Peter Kim is the actor's name. They've been friends since high school, and he does everything he can to kind of help her with her career and everything like that. And some of their exchanges is probably some of the best stuff, and not the best stuff, but some of the great, a great movie friendship, I guess I want to say. But yeah, Radha Blank, she writes and directs it. She stars in it as the main character. It very much has a focus on the African American, I guess you can call it, black culture in New York City and creativity. She starts to do raps and getting into raps and rhyming again rather than the playwright, and she kind of is considering being a rapper. That's the way it was kind of looked at, and the kind of tagline, like, the artist, struggling artist turns to rap. But I think it's almost just a way of getting more into the character's head and more into about the idea of creativity and investing in yourself and what it means to kind of go out on a limb and procure and make your own art without the backing of establishments, I guess. One of the great things it looks like is that the kind of very older white establishment of the theatre scene in New York, and how Radha, being a black woman and being from kind of her background, they want, the poverty porn. They want the plays and the stories about the struggling black people who speak a certain way, sound a certain way, all very stereotypical, and looking past the people and the characters, fictitious or not, in these stories, and just looking at, well, this puts bums on seats. This, the older rich theatre loving crowd, the white crowd, love this kind of stuff. It gets accolades, kind of thing. And one of the great parts of the film is when she actually does get a job doing that, adapting one of her plays and broadening it out, and I guess trying to make it more appealing to whites and to that kind of audience is quite a great look at the idea of artistic expression and what happens when you start getting that. We need this, and this in order for this to work and for us to put, to sell tickets. And her going into her raps and her rhymes and meeting the characters from that story, one of whom is a younger man who becomes a love interest, which is something I also quite like about the film. That almost opens her up again and into kind of trusting herself and believing in her art, even if it maybe is not the way you're gonna get the establishment to like you. It's definitely speaks more to her heart and more to what she wants to do, as a creative. It's filmed in gorgeous black and white. Really takes in New York City, and like New York City is a character in many respects, especially kind of the part that Radha, the main character, lives in. And it's just really filled with amazing, interesting actors played by, I imagine, a lot of character actors The script is it almost felt like it's script heavy. It's very funny. There's a lot of comedy in it, and a lot of comedy there. I was laughing quite a bit throughout the film, more than probably I was expecting. There's a beautiful scene the night after she goes to bed the first time with this love interest character, and through rhyming and through these raps, I guess, for lack of a better word, I guess that's what it is, I guess. But through that, they talk about these issues that have been bugging, especially for Radha, the main character, that have been bugging her, because there's this whole thing about her mother recently passed away. She's going through something. There's all these messages that her brother leaves her about when you're going to clean out the stuff that from mum's place that is yours, blah blah blah. She's not dealing with the death basically, and that scene between her and her lover, discussing their because he has a mum who's also passed away as well, discussing that through music, through rhyme, is just really incredible, and one of my favorite scenes in this particular film. And obviously you need to watch it to kind of see the context and the build up towards that scene. But when it happens, it's so soft and gentle, and I think that's what I like. There's a lot of laugh out loud big moments in this, but it's the times when it gets kind of soft and cuddly almost, I guess you could say, that I really, really appreciate it. Because even though it's funny and outrageous at times, especially with Radha's high school students that she teaches drama to, there's also a layer of humanity to it that I think if you say it's a comedy about a African American woman playwright turning to rap, that doesn't necessarily sound that, or maybe it does sound appealing. Who am I to say? But it doesn't maybe have the ring to it that you would expect. And then when you watch this film, you're like, oh, it's so much more than what that premise might imply to if depending how you heard that. But I just think it's a really great work of achievement that Radha Blank has done, not only to star in this, but to write and direct it as well. And her music cues and picks are wonderful. Near the end of the film, the instrumental song, I think it's called Love and Glory by Quincy Jones, I think it's from the 70s, that plays in the background of a scene just after kind of the main point of the third act. And the mood of that just really gets you in sync with that character's journey and with your life a little bit as well. And I was not expecting this film and it to be at such a level for a first time filmmaker, and such control and maybe the one criticism perhaps is that maybe it was like just half an hour too long. It's about 2 hours, which I think was a stretch for what this kind of film is. But with that said, like, I wasn't complaining. I just really thought it was great. If you love kind of really humanistic films that are funny, but kind of really are about people. I hate saying that term, normal people, because what's normal? Who's normal? But just taking a snapshot of someone's life and following them in that life. I love movies that do that. And even though there's elements of this that's outrageous because there's a lot of comedic elements, it still feels within the realm of a reality, especially if the main character is Radha's reality. And I really do think that people should watch this, because I think you'd really get invested. As I said, I wasn't expecting it to be as good. It just popped out of nowhere. I'm like, it's on Netflix? I got Netflix, yeah, I'll check that out. Which is sometimes how you find some really great gems. Sometimes not so much, as we all know. So look, the 40-year-old virgin, which is a great play on the whole 40-year-old virgin kind of idea, is just really incredible watch, especially if you're a creative person and you're doing creative endeavors. No matter what you do, I think you can really associate with the main character and her journey and kind of her mindset of what she's going through. So yeah, I recommend check it out. If you like what I do here, please hit the subscribe button below and check out my other videos. I not only look at and talk about films, books as well, and then other media as well. So feel free to subscribe and check me out. And until next time, see you guys.